Welcome to another video. It's been a rough morning with all the bad news, hotshots and ricochets to peace and democracy. And I honestly believe that people who are in charge for these vile acts should play more Final Fantasy XIV or other video games, to work off their stress or measure sizes of spongy body parts, instead of affecting lives of real people. But that's our world, huh? So let me try to give a bit of a positive perspective, at least for all the virtual gunners out there talking about the Machinist in Endwalker. Alright, so let me go through some of my thoughts for it. First of all, the bad stuff. I still don't like Wildfire. It's generic, doesn't demand skill of the player, nor is it able to be used keenly for different fighting scenarios, while still not offering any AoE advantage. Above that, it is barely usable against mobs on overworld content, because when being combined with Heat Blast and the rapid succession of OGCDs accompanied, enemies are dead before Wildfire is halfway through, and I really don't like that at all. It is basically useless there. Instead, I would really wish for a final explosion hitting multiple targets and that it stacks up accumulated damage again. While being clunky in some regards, it was super satisfying to have multiple crits being put into that exact window, and this would make the timing of your cooldowns and big hits like Drill, Air Anchor and Chainsaw even more important than it already is. And while I love Heat Blast and how it offers a reduced GCD for the next attack, I don't think it automatically needs to be combined with Wildfire from a design standpoint, because this forces cooldown windows together that otherwise could offer a more complex variation of Machinist Burst and climax of its rotation. Maybe grant Heat Blast a special finisher attack that works identical to Wildfire, while the original works with your big attacks and the final explosion being an AoE attack, so that it would also make sense to crush in all the big shots into the Wildfire target to gain a true AoE advantage over just spamming your auto crossbow and such. But maybe that is just a dream, and our weapon laws might restrict these gunshot wonders anyway. Or Square Enix wants to have it as simple as it is right now. Which leads me to the next point, simplicity. Overall and from moving forward with Shadowbringers as the starting point. Because from all the jobs I played so far, which is about half of the whole cast, the Machinist felt like the least upgraded, even compared against the Dark Knight. Simply because there's just one new attack, and this attack is just an AoE carbon copy of Drill and Air Anchor, with the exact same potency on single targets. And it is kinda weird to say, but a second stack for reassemble just seemed to be the logical continuation of our Shadowbringers system and the logical thing to do when introducing another Drill Anchor attack. So this time I can really say, if you love the Machinist in Shadowbringers, you will love it in Endwalker. Because it really is exactly the same. And during battle, the new skill and additional stack of reassemble doesn't feel like an addition at all, just more like a reduced cooldown or increased output frequency of Drill Anchor attacks and reassemble. Oh wait. There's a new ability learned by Automaton Queen on level 86? I actually haven't realized that, except for my DPS going up slightly more than before when using the Queen. But it's a real bummer for me that it's no new active clicking thing or timing thing to finally shut down your Queen manually, offering a little bit of skill requirement again. Right now, Machinist feels exactly like a summoner, but even more flexible and with a super low chance to actually fuck it up at all. You really only need to take care of using reassemble with any combination of Drill, Air Anchor or Chainsaw, and combine your hypercharge phase with Wildfire while using your Ricochet and Gauss rounds on cooldown there. Even if you delay reassemble by 10 or more seconds because of bad drill timings and being too greedy in pushing out your big attacks, you're still fine and will continue to pull your weight compared to basically any competition. And that is exactly where we have to take a closer look at the other side of the coin. Man, does Machinist look so much better on real ACT numbers compared to the info received from FF logs. My first ever level 90 raid fight had been rewarded with a really solid 8k DPS, and I still only have item level 580 with kinda guild-friendly pentamelding on it. So I was absolutely impressed by that number, and even though we have to think about the fact that you're a pure selfish DPS as Machinist, 8k isn't that bad, I guess. And it's definitely enough to pull weight of any possible content at the moment, or maybe even more than that, especially if my gear would improve in the process of progressing. All this supported by the fact this is my first level 90 raid I did without having any struggle to dodge stuff or mechanics. Yes, it's just normal mode and it might be a joke for most people, but still it's hilarious to see how powerful a job can be while still feeling super easy to take into battle. And of course, the higher frequency of reassembling makes this even better, and Chainsaw, even though it isn't the level 90 ability I was wishing for, does improve dungeon gameplay decently. So if I would describe how the Machinist differs from other jobs with 4 words, it's a machine gun. Are these actually 4 words? I don't know. However, it does exactly what it should, dealing tons of damage as long as you're holding it on target. For example, if you just started this job or swapped over it from a bard to deal a slight bit more damage on your own because you just love the gunslinger fantasy, the Machinist offers exactly what it's supposed to, only being reduced to level 30 when starting it on level 50, which is a big downside. I hope Square fixes this in future patches. Because already at the start of Heavensward I really felt to backtrack with all my progress when switching over to a Dark Knight that lives under the same circumstances, which doesn't follow on the new job systems they introduced with follow-up expansions. So maybe we can hope for improvement on that aspect. Nonetheless, and before that is being unmentioned, Scattergun looks freaking cool and is a much better AoE skill than Spreadshot, visually, sound technically, and Miko posingly. Which leads us to the conclusion. If you're looking for the absolute pinnacle of damage, a Black Mage might be the better choice. But if you want to get very close, I mean really close, while not ripping your hair out due to movement and dying to mechanics a lot, Machinist is the choice for you. Yes, a Summoner might not be too far behind as well, while also offering raising potential, but Machinist is definitely the king of straightforwardness, if by any chance that is a word you guys have in your vocabulary. Maybe you can compare this to overclocking of a GPU or CPU. Some like to get the last pinch of performance out of their hardware, which is your job or character in that metaphor. But others really do only enjoy strong performance out of the box, and that is exactly what the Machinist is. An air-cooled RTX 3080 Ti.
The GeForce RTX 3080 Ti
that you don't have to touch at all and can leave MSI Afterburner uninstalled. So, enjoy the gunslinger fantasy with amazing animations and a close to peak DPS chart performance. And don't listen to stupid tier lists. Content creators just need those to pay some bills anyways, or to have fun in causing comment sections with cataclysmic proportions. Oh, and if you want to know more about that, all the mechanics and battle systems are being explained inside of my Machinist for Beginners video already. So if you need some advice to get started with this cool job, check out the little box in the upper right corner or found in the description of this video. But of course, there will be a 5 essential Machinist tips video coming on this weekend, in case Europe is still existing at that time. So, until then, stay safe, stay peaceful, and if any of you get so far to become a powerful being on the political stage of this world, no matter which country you live in, please keep your anger and dick size measurements within spaces where fights are abided on virtual battlefields and not on homes of your neighbors. Sayonara, and keep loving peace, democracy, and Final Fantasy.
Your defeat shall serve as proof of my readiness to rule. It is only right that I should take your realm, for none among you has the power to stop me.